Hi all. Today we will be taking a look into the two VS Code extensions, that is the GitHub Copilot and the GitHub Copilot Chat. So in order to get started with these extensions, first you need to log into your GitHub account where you have linked your Copilot, and since it's the paid version, you need to buy the subscription, and once you have signed into that account, you will be able to access the Copilot features. So as you saw earlier, there are two extensions. One is the normal GitHub Copilot and the other is the chat option. So first let us take a look at the normal extension. One of the most common use case for the GitHub Copilot is to auto-generate code which will be suggested based on the context. So how GitHub Copilot gets the context is based on the file name and the type of comments which we type. So here I have named a file called mathsutil.js, and I am just typing a comment. So as you can see, automatically Copilot starts suggesting the different functions which can come within this utils since it is related to the mathematics. So I am going to I'm going to type that I need a function to get the factorial of a number. You can see that automatically the comment is auto-suggested, and we can open the auto-completion tab by either going to the options window or you can press Control Enter. So in this case, I hit Control Enter. You can see that the Copilot suggestions are shown here. So it will suggest 10 options, and out of this, whichever is best suited for our scenario, we can select that. So in case I select the option 2, then it will be auto-populated within our editor. While we are in the editor view, in case you need to invoke the Copilot, you can press Ctrl I and you can directly ask for the either inbuilt commands or you can speak normally to the Copilot. So some of the inbuilt commands are doc, explain, fix, and test. So in this scenario, I am going to ask the Copilot to explain the code which it has generated. Now, when I press enter, it will ask the scope, like if you want to explain only the if block or the factorial, that is enter function. I am selecting the factorial. So here you can see that Copilot explains the function in detail and what is behind the logic of the code. So in this way, the developer will be able to understand the context of what is the code that is generated by Copilot. Once you have viewed the response, you can either close it here using this close button, or you can view it in a chat view by clicking on this button. So this is the chat view of the Copilot, which we'll be taking a look at a later stage. So now let's try another option, that is for generating the documentation for this function. So I have given the doc option, and when I press enter, Copilot automatically adds the documentation for this particular function. So in case you want to accept, you can click accept or discard it. So in this case, I am accepting it, and here I can remove the old comment. So similarly, in case you need to restrict the scope of the code, you can select that particular portion alone and then execute a particular GitHub command. So here I am selecting the explain for this particular block alone. The explanation is limited only to that selected block of code. Another feature within the Copilot is that it will be able to go through the code and check for any errors within the code. So in this scenario, suppose I remove the -1 from this factorial method, what happens is basically it goes into an infinite loop. So now let us ask Copilot to analyze this and provide a fix. So once you select the code and run the fix option, you can see that it explains what is the error and it will automatically fix that. So once it has done, you can apply the changes or discard. So here you can see that the error has been fixed. Another option within the Copilot is that you can generate unit tests for your code. So in this scenario, I want to generate the unit test for this particular function. I can call the test method and immediately it creates a unit test in a separate file, and in case you need to accept it, you can do that. Now you can view this in chat and you can have the option to apply the edits. So now it basically creates a new file which you can save within your workspace. Now let's take a look at the chat extension that is available in Copilot. So for going to the chat, you can select this option that is focus on Copilot view. Immediately it comes to the chat view, and here you have some additional options to the ones you already saw within the normal Copilot. So here there are three participants to which we can ask the questions. One is a terminal, one is the VS Code itself, and the other is the workspace of the current project. So initially, let us select the workspace and see what are the different options which are available. So here the different options are explain, fix, test, which we already saw. And other than that, you have another three options like fix, test, failure, new, and a new notebook. So let's try out the new option. So it basically creates a scaffolding for a new project in case we want to use it. So we can ask it to create an Angular 17 project. So it provides a proposed directory structure for the project. And in case you are okay with this structure, you can select the create workspace and select a particular folder. It will create the workspace. But one thing to make sure is that the code which is generated by Copilot, you need to always confirm that it is correct, because it can provide some old templates and all which can cause errors in your application. So while using the AI tools like Copilot, you should always be responsible and you need to verify that the code is working. So in my current application, I have a unit test which is failing. So here I am getting an error while running the unit test for this app component. So now let us do one thing, select this particular error that is happening within the terminal, and we will try to ask the terminal participant to explain the error. So you have the explain option, and when we run that option, it explains what is the probable cause for the error and it will try to suggest a fix. So here basically our app component does not have a title property. So we can add, and we will be able to fix the test. In order to clear the previous chat history, we can use the clear option. So by default, the scope of this particular chat window is the currently open file. So in case we ask any questions to this window, it will be referencing the app component.ts, which is the currently open file. So you can see that the reference is shown here, that is app component.ts. And since the view contains only lines from 20 to 30, it will be taking that option. So in case you need to select the entire file or a different file from the currently open one, you can use the hash file option and you can select the particular file. So in this case, I am selecting the mathutils.test and I will try to ask it to explain the code. So it will reference that particular code and it will try to explain the code within that file. Same way, we will be able to select multiple files by linking the hash file option multiple times. So the context will be expanded to the number of files which are currently selected within the chat view. And finally, we have the VS Code as a participant. So the two options which are available are the run command and the search. So let's try the run command and ask to open the settings. So you can see that the settings window is open. So another option within the VS Code search is you can provide a complex scenario for searching text throughout the files within the workspace. So here I have given option like a case sensitive search for the whole word text, and let's see, it provides a search option based on the parameters. And when we click on this, you can see that it has generated a regular expression which matches for the word test and it is case sensitive. So instead of directly searching here, in case you need to have some complex search options with custom parameters, you can make use of the chat search. Now you have the option to see older chat windows here so that you can get access to the chat history and you can select any particular one you want to access. Hope you are able to get a good idea about how to use the GitHub Copilot extensions. See you soon. Thank you.